Hey, what's going on, guys? This is AndrewChicken, and welcome back to another video. We are live on Twitch, recording the Last Remains update notes, which has a brand new champion. It's a spooky Halloween update. Kind of spooky. Hopefully not spooky, scary, bad balance changes, but we'll just have to see once we get to the balance section. But up first, of course, is the new Champion Kasumi, Death's Howl. Ooh, spooky ghost. Let's zoom in a little bit. There you go, chat. Beautiful. Some pains persist beyond our physical existence. The bitterest concoctions pale compared to the taste of betrayal by those you hold dear. Once by a house meant to protect, twice by a family with barren hearts, thrice by the world. You couldn't imagine such pain. Thankfully, you won't have to imagine. Powers from beyond the grave infuse this angry spirit on her path of vengeance, and your pain pleases her. It is your privilege to suffer at her hands. It is your fate to atone for the sins of the world. It is your honor to writhe. Now, struggle and die, and offer your souls to Kasumi, Death's Howl, for she is coming for you all. Woo. Spooky. Basically, Kasumi's lore can be summed up as, she's just some angry girl. And for some reason, she's a ghost now. And yeah. that's it. But yeah, overview. She is a flank? Damage flank? She's pretty dank, that's for sure. So in the update show, they called her a damage, but here it says she's a flank. Either way, I'm disappointed that we're not getting a new tank this year. Or most likely not getting a new tank this year anyways, because, I mean, how many more champions are they going to release? I guess maybe they probably have one more champion planned for this year in, like, November, December, or something like that. She has 2100 health, and she is one of the most complicated champions in the game, just straight up. So, her weapon is not a hit scan, not a projectile, it's a mark. You know, like a Lilith Hex, or a Genos Astromark. Kind of mixed with a little bit of Furia Cherish. It's weird. So, yeah, you can stab your straw doll, dealing 250 damage every 0.6 seconds, which is really low, and applying stacks of curse to your currently targeted foe. Deals 10% increased damage to your target per stack of curse currently applied, so up to 50% increased damage, because you can have up to 5 stacks in total. Other targets inflicted with curse will have up to 2 stacks stripped from them to increase the curse applied to your target by 1. So basically the way this works is, say there's a Fernando chilling on point, and you mark him 4 times. So he has 4 marks on him. And then Androxus comes around to flank you. You switch targets to Androxus. Instead of marking him 1 at a time, you'll mark him 2 at a time until that Fernando runs out of marks. So basically, you put 2 marks on Androxus, and then 2 marks get taken away from Fernando. And then 2 more marks on Androxus, 2 more taken away from Fernando, and then because Fernando is out of the marks, you now go back to applying 1 per shot to Androxus. Is basically how that works. So, yeah. It sounds complicated given the wording, but it's actually pretty simple. And also it has a passive, Curse. Kasumi's abilities can apply up to 5 stacks of Curse. Okay, that's some wording right there. For each stack, the target deals 2% less outgoing damage, and takes increased damage from Kasumi's abilities. So yeah, again, that increased damage was already explained earlier, but also, she can make the enemy deal up to 10% less damage to anybody they're attacking. So it's kind of like Ray's Midnight Stroll card, but it's less impactful, but also way more reliable, because it's on her in-hand instead of a link. So yeah, pretty interesting primary fire there. Really not too similar to any other weapon we have in Paladins at the moment, which is pretty cool. But yeah, the damage for a dank seems pretty low. But again, once you get the max stacked up, then it seems like it'll do hopefully decent DPS. At the very least, it's not going to be overwhelming DPS, that's for sure. But she seems like a type of champion who will play sort of similar to Caspian or Vora, where you would farm up stacks on somebody, like the tank on the objective, And then, once you have those stacks up on them, you go in and attack someone else. But it works in a different way to them, because you're just putting stacks on the tank, and then switching targets, and because you have stacks on the tank, you put you put stacks on your second target faster, if that makes sense. So, very complicated and interesting primate fire. Alt fire is Savage Tear. Viciously rip through your yokai doll, dealing 525 damage, and, at maximum stacks of curse, disarming your target for 1 second. Deals increased damage per stack of curse on your target, so it looks like it did up to 1,000 damage in the update show. And yeah, disarm. That's an old crowd control ability right there. But way back in the day, I'm pretty sure, Torvald's Runic Blast used to be able to disarm people, so it would silence people and disarm them. Basically, you couldn't shoot. And that's exactly what disarm does, is it disables your primary fire. So instead of disabling your regular abilities, you just can't left click. You can't shoot. So, yeah. Pretty interesting, weird, zany crowd control. She will be the only champion in Paladins at the moment who has this crowd control, which makes her very unique. And yeah, also gives her a bit of a burst effect as well, because 525, if you didn't know, is way bigger than 250. I know, mind-blowing math, right? So, pretty crazy. Anyways, next up is Spirit Lure. Place up to 3 traps. Reactivate this ability when an enemy gets close to teleport to the most recently triggered lure, dealing 100 damage, applying 3 stacks of curse, and applying a 1.5 second long fear to nearby foes. Ayo. After reactivation, Spirit Lure will go on a longer cooldown. So, the traps, basically they look like little voodoo dolls, and they are actually invisible to the enemies until they get close. And Illuminate will actually make them visible from a longer range. So Illuminate counters this. Kasumi doesn't go invisible herself, but her traps do. So it's kind of like an invisible deployable, if that makes sense. I don't think you can destroy it like a deployable either, though. I don't think it's like that.
You're the Puma's pajamas.
But yeah, it serves as a movement ability and, yeah, as a trap. Literally, it's a trap that fears people. So she has Moldamba Fear on a regular ability with smaller range. But 1.5 second AoE Fear. What? Huh? But yeah, that's pretty wacky. This is going to be probably the most important ability to look at in terms of balance. We have to make sure that this is balanced. Right. Honestly, I expected it to be a 1 second fear. 1.5 seconds seems like it might be really long. But yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see what it feels like in game. Definitely got to be careful with this ability, though, for sure. But yeah, that's 2 forms of crowd control. And she also has 2 forms of mobility with her next ability, Body and Soul. Project yourself outward for 2 seconds, leaving a physical manifestation behind. While traveling, you are ethereal and gain increased movement speed, but your body is vulnerable to damage at a reduced rate. You can reactivate this ability to teleport back to your body, or your body will teleport to you if not reactivated. So this is a different take on sort of a Zen billow, where your body stays in place and can still be damaged, but you control a second projection. So you can basically travel forward and you can kind of like peek out from behind a corner or whatever. And if you don't like where you're going, you can recast the ability to go back to where you were. But if you like where you're going, just don't do anything and you will teleport to where you are, basically where your projection was at the end of the duration. So it actually reminds me a lot of a Path of Exile skill gem that kind of has a similar effect. And yeah, it's pretty cool, honestly. It seems like a pretty cool movement ability. Her kit is very, very unique. We don't really have anything like this in Paladins. Like, yeah, it's sort of a different billow, but also it works completely different to billow. Really, the only, I guess, sort of similarity you can draw to it is that it makes you ethereal. So, yeah, pretty cool. And then the ultimate is, it actually seems a little bit underwhelming, but yeah, basically what it does is you inflict a deadly curse on your target, designating them as a betrayer. After almost 2 seconds, your target explodes outward in a series of projectiles. They, and any enemy hit, will gain 5 stacks of curse and take 80 damage every 0.2 seconds for 2.6 seconds. Damage is increased based on the number of curse stacks. So, I'm assuming that the 5 stacks of curse make this DOT, that's 80 damage every 0.2 seconds, really ramp up to 50% more. But, yeah, we'll have to see about that. It seems like a more reliable but less powerful Sky Bomb. It seems like it does less damage than a Sky Bomb, but obviously it's way more reliable because you can guarantee at least one person gets hit by it, if not more. And the projectiles travel out completely laterally, So if you're above the ultimate, you won't get hit by it. And yeah, there's not a shotgun effect. So they specifically specified you can't take damage from multiple projectiles. So like if 2 projectiles pass through you, you only take damage from 1. So you just get 5 stacks of curse, and you only take that flat 80 damage. If you get hit by 2, it doesn't suddenly become 160 damage every 0.2 seconds. So it's interesting. Honestly, this is probably the least interesting part of her kit, but this movement ability, this trap, the fact that she can disarm people, and the fact that she has a marking mechanic as her primary fire, it's all very fascinating. Let's move on to her talents. So, as always, there are 3 of them, and one of them seems like it's going to be more straightforward and better than the others, because that's how talents work. People like the simplest talent, usually. Kind of like with Azan, Persistence. Oh boy. But yeah, default talent is Empowered Curse. Now this actually does have the potential to make her ultimate, like, wicked strong. So, this increases your attack speed and movement speed by 5% per stack of curse currently on the enemies. I don't know if this has a cap. If it doesn't have a cap, then a fat bitter betrayal that hits like 2 or 3 people is going to superpower Kasumi with this talent. Otherwise, it seems like it'll just be pretty solid. You know, it kind of just ramps up your strength even more instead of just ramping up your DPS. It also ramps up your attack speed, which is a further ramp up on your DPS, and ramps up your movement speed, so you have even more mobility. She really does seem like a flank. I can understand why they accidentally typed flank here at first. Because, yeah, it's very flank-like. And then level 2 is Spirit Bombs. This is basically improvised, but worse. So, Spirit Lures become timed mines and can no longer be reactivated, exploding a small duration after being triggered to deal damage, fear, and apply curse stacks. Your Your trap placement now has increased cooldown, so it has a longer cooldown. You can no longer use it as a movement ability, but it'll do damage alongside the fear and the curse stacks. So, yeah, improvise, basically. And then level 8 is Unfinished Business. Extend the duration of body and soul. Keep in mind that is the ethereal ability. Heal for 70% of the damage your body took while traveling after the ability ends, unaffected by Cauterize. So it basically makes the movement ability much more reliable, assuming you don't just die while you're casting the ability. So, yeah, it basically makes it so that if you take a bunch of damage while using your movement ability, you basically don't really take the damage. And I think they specify unaffected by Cauterize here just to clear up confusion about the healing, because, you know, you go ethereal, but then the heal happens after the ethereal. I think the ethereal basically just cleanses the Cauterize is kind of the idea sort of thing. It's weird. But anyways, next let's talk about cards. So let's see what she's got here. Increase max health. Boring. Heal for 35 on hitting enemy with max curse stacks with Yokai Doll or Savage Tear. So that also applies to her right click, which is the disarm. Good to know. So this will stack with life without diminishing returns, pretty similar to other cards we have for like Bomb King and Tiberius. Surrounded by Fear. Hitting an enemy with Yokai Doll applies 1 extra stack of curse once every 30 seconds. But you can do minus 5 seconds per stack of this card, so you can bring that down to a 5-second thing. But I feel like by the time that 5 seconds comes around, they're probably already dead. I'm not sure how good this card is going to be. We'll have to test. And increase the duration of curse stacks by 0.6 seconds. Could be good. Who knows? Alternate Fire. Why is it called Alternate Fire? It's Savage Tear. What? Why is this not called Ability 1 and this not called Ability... Okay, high res. Alternate Fire. Epic ability. Unseen Eyes increase the duration of the disarm applied by up to 50%, so you could have it be a 1.5 second duration on the disarm instead of 1 second. Not sure if that'll be worth it. Maybe it will be, maybe it won't be. I don't know. Betrayal. Reduce the cooldown of Savage Tear by up to 2.5 seconds. That could be good. Your Savage Tear deals an additional 0.2, so up to 1% damage per stack of curse on your target. So you can just straight up have a card that makes you do more damage. Alright. And apply 3 stacks of curse to the target hit by your Savage Tear. This effect can occur once every minus 5 seconds. Wait, I thought it already applied stacks. Or am I wrong? Oh yeah, no, I am wrong. Okay. No, it was the Spirit Lure that applies 3 stacks, not the Savage Tear. Okay, so you could have Savage Tear basically also apply stacks, but Savage Tear only applies the disarm when you're at maximum stacks of curse, so I feel like you wouldn't want to be using it to get your stacks up. I don't know, that seems weird. Anyways, Spirit Lure. Decrease the cooldown of Spirit Lure's reactivation by up to 3 seconds. Okay, so wow, the reactivation is going to have a long cooldown then. Unwilling Victim. Increase the area of effect by up to 25%. Ah yes, Bigger Fear. You really can just have a Maldamba ultimate on a regular cooldown. That's terrifying. Soulfire. Heal for up to 250 each time one of your Spirit Lures triggers. Alright, pretty typical. And increase your movement speed after one of your Spirit Lures triggers. Oh no! That goes up to 50%. Ooh. So you can... Someone triggers your Spirit Lure, teleport back to them, have 50% movement speed, and just dart around and just zip, zip while they're feared. Oh, that sounds horrible. That sounds terrifying. Oh my goodness. Alright. And then Body and Soul. Decrease cooldown of Body and Soul. Okay, pretty typical. Increase movement speed after Body and Soul ends, again by up to 50%. The movement speed scaling is ridiculous. That could be good, actually. It basically would be like a continuation of your movement ability. So you have the increased movement speed on the ethereal projectile that you're projecting out. And then after that ends, you also have movement speed, so you keep going. That could be pretty good. Heal for 17 per tier of the card every 0.25 seconds during Body and Soul. So kind of like an inbuilt smolder. And Soul Siphon. Increase the duration of Body and Soul by up to half a second. I imagine you could stack that with Unfinished Business and get a really long Body and Soul if you wanted to. That could be cool. Interesting cards. Some of them pretty boring. Some of them pretty not boring. I'm very interested to see how this champion plays. She is very complicated. And so I'm excited to see what it's like to try and use her. But I really don't know like whether she's going to be OP or underpowered or what. The crowd control definitely looks insane. I guess that's why she has low damage to compensate, but is the damage too low? Is the crowd control too much? These are all questions we have to ask. So we're going to have to be... Yeah, we're going to be very careful with this champion. We're going to have to really see what she's like. But yeah, let's move on to the skins real quick. So the limited skin, available through the Season Pass 2022, is Spirited Kasumi, which is just pre-corrupted Kasumi. Instead of being a ghost, she is a human again. That's it. That's the gimmick. And it looks alright. I've seen better. I've seen worse. And yeah, it'll be unobtainable after the Season Pass has finished. And then, the recolor for gold, which is also unlocked through the Season Pass if you don't know it already, is Evil Spirit Kasumi, which is just kind of a more cool-toned recolor of the default skin. And then Golden Kasumi. Looks worse than Golden Caspian. It's alright. It's... yeah. It's a gold skin. And I probably won't get that after reaching level 52, because I still don't have my Golden Caspian skin. You know, I got that the weekend of the first double XP. You know, not even a week after Caspian came out. And it's been multiple weeks since then, and I still don't have Golden Caspian. It's going to be another Golden Genos. I'm never going to get that skin. And honestly, it makes me not want to grind Golden Kasumi. If Hi-Rez is not going to give me my gold skins, then I'm not going to play their champions. But, yeah, hopefully by the time Golden Kasumi is out, that glitch has been fixed. Anyways, we can take a look at the emotes. So, this is her only emote. Huh. Okay. Weird. They showcased this in the update show. This is actually a wandering emote. So she kind of just glitches around and looks all spooky. Oh, I'm Ghost. And you can actually walk with that. So this is the first default wandering emote then. And it's also her only emote. Curious. Interesting. Strange. Alright. Oh, whatever. Alright. And she's got 2 MVP poses. So there's this one, and there's this one. Woohoo! Moving on, let's talk about the Dread Omens event pass. So, there is a collaboration with a music company, I think. I think it's called Nightcore, or whatever it was called. But that's not actually the event pass. So the event pass is completely different. It's more of an Oni-themed, semi-Halloween, but not really Halloween event pass. And the first skin unlocked is Soul Weaver Leon. So, this gives me Vivian vibes. If you remember the Vivian Witch skin from, I think, 2 years ago at this point, it seems very similar to that, but with more of an Oni aesthetic. And part of that, for me, makes it a pretty boring skin. I think it does overall look pretty solid, but kind of a sleeper. I don't know. That's just my take. Obviously, if you like it, you like it. If you don't like it, you like it. Skins are entirely subjective, but I think overall, in terms of the objective quality of this skin, It looks very nice. Modeling is solid. Textures are crisp. Gun looks pretty sick, and the visual effects are alright. But of course, there's not really much you can do with visual effects when it comes to Leon, so they are kind of limited. But what they had to work with, I think they did a good job. And yeah, moving on. Next up is the more interesting of the two skins, Aka Oni Tiberius, also known as Oni Tiberius. So yeah, don't need to say anything else. This is awesome. This is a really, really awesome skin. It's fiery, it's cool, looks amazing. The armor looks absolutely wicked. Visual effects are nice on the sword and the chakrams. It's just very solid. Of course, it seems like a recurring theme with Evil Mojo now. The voice lines are getting cringier. Like, the voice actor did an alright job. He sounds, you know, gruff and Oni-like, I guess. But the lines they have them voice are just... they're not it. It's like they don't take the skin seriously. Like, this is a serious skin, and the lines just... at least the few lines they previewed weren't that serious. And it kind of takes away from the value of the skin, in my opinion. So, but yeah, the actual visuals of the skin are absolutely killer. And then we can get into the recolors. Also, I don't think it says the free unlock, unless the free unlock is one of the Tiberius recolors. But yeah, we have Death Mage Leon, which is black and red, but with green effects for some reason. And it looks alright. However, if you'll notice, there's clipping. Sure, how I like to go. Look at the clipping! Wait!
Yeah.
It feels, I don't know. It feels
Look at the clipping on her. Look at the clipping on her leg. Wait, look at the clipping.
Just creepy. Right?
Look at the clipping.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the J
And the clipping of the hair on the shoulder plate too. Look at the clipping.
But yeah, so those are the.
And then we have the Oni Tiberius. I don't know how to say that, but this recolor looks absolutely amazing. Both versions of the Tiberius skin looks absolutely phenomenal, and yeah, really not much more to say about it other than, yeah, it looks pretty cool. Anyways, next up, Event Pass exclusive unlocks. We can zoom out a little bit for this. There we go. We got some avatars and sprays and stuff. Honestly, I never care about any of these. So, we can form an orderly queue for healing. Woohoo. Who is that? Is that meant to be a champion, or is that just a random demon? Is that Caspian? I have no idea. Okay, whatever. Trials of the Realm. Do we got anything exciting in here? We've got a Tiberius emote, Take a Bow. That looks vaguely familiar. Am I tripping, or is that, like, default? Those feet look weird.
Look at those hooves.
What?
Or giant feet.
Why are those so big?
I love his sword.
Ash also has an MVP pose, R&R. That quality on that gif is horrible. You can hardly make out the sitting. Alright, whatever. We've also got some avatars and things. That's a pretty decent looking spray. Ooh, those Abyssal Kunai. Looking pretty sick. Loading frame Voracious. Looks pretty alright.
Alright!
Anyways, limited time modes. Are there new modes here? Probably. Hole in one, don't get too hooked. Get your aim just right in this mode with all Makoas and unlimited dredge anchor use in a special unique map. Special unique map? I'm sorry, what? Did they make a new map just for a custom game mode? I'm sorry, what? Hello? Okay, that sounds pretty cool. Look up. Stay aware in this TDM match on Dragon Arena with 20% reduced cooldowns and giant walls that drop from the sky. Man, I should really play limited time modes more often. These look interesting. They're actually doing like some crazy stuff there. And Ghostly Quarrel. All players are Kasumi with 35% reduced ability cooldowns. Okay, yeah. The mode with the new champion being the only playable character. Haha, funny. Alright. Well, moving on. We've got more skins to talk about here. Oh my goodness. Scroll down. There we go. So, this is where the crossover with... Again, I forget the name of the label. Honestly, I've never heard of this company before. But Peekaboo Moji apparently is a music artist. And yeah, it's the first emoji skin we've gotten in how many years? 3 years? 4 years? Something like that. It's been forever since we got emoji skin. And yeah, this actually... I was pleasantly surprised by this skin. because just based off the splash art alone, it kind of looks a bit weird. But in-game, it's got like this weird, almost cartoony shading to it that really makes it stand out, and it actually looks really good. It also has really, really, really good visual effects. They absolutely nailed the visuals. And we could barely hear the sound effects in the actual update show, but it sounded like they were hopefully pretty good. So, yeah, I'm actually pretty excited for this Moji skin. I did not think I would like it as much as I do, but it's actually pretty nice. Sans Moji. Tune shaded, yeah, it's tune shaded. 4.5 years. Gosh, that's so long. How can they allow champions to do this? How can they allow champions to go without skins for this long? Uh-oh, I pressed undo. Whoops. I pressed the back button. Crap. I gotta scroll all the way down. I'm gonna have to edit this out. Unfortunately, we have another Androxus skin. You know, the champion that everyone is in love with at the moment because he is so much fun to play against. And really just a fair and balanced experience. Fun for the whole family. I don't care about this skin. I wanted Androxus' face reveal to be not this way. I wanted to see Androxus' face in the form of a pre-corrupted skin. You know how we have pre-corrupted Vora? You know how we're going to have pre-corrupted Kasumi? Well, can we give us pre-corrupted Androxus before he got hexed by that witch or whatever the heck happened to him? Or the goddess, or... I don't remember Androxus lore. But can we get that? Why do we gotta see Androxus' ugly mug in the form of this strange Brazilian techno skin? It's just very mid. If you like it, you like it. But for me, I'm just going to stick with Steam Demon, because Steam Demon is just better. Also, both of these are going to be available from the Electronica chest or direct purchase for 800 crystals, so you don't have to worry about Amazon Prime garbage. You can just direct purchase these or get them from a chest if you so choose, so that is very exciting for us. But yeah, let's move on next to... Abyss Cultist Vaatu. Oh boy. I have been excited for this skin ever since it got accidentally leaked in the PTS. The last PTS, you could skin boost for this skin, and it would make you invisible, because the skin actually wasn't available in game yet, but the name was. And the name alone got me so hyped, and oh boy, they delivered. Look at this. Like, it just speaks for itself. It's so awesome. I absolutely dig this aesthetic, and it works on Vaatu perfectly. Unfortunately, Vaatu's, what is the skin called? I forget the name of the skin again. Pandemonium, that's it. Vaatu's Pandemonium skin set the bar so unbelievably high, because it is literally a perfect skin, that this skin still is actually, it seems almost underwhelming in comparison to Pandemonium, and this skin is absolutely wicked. It looks absolutely sick. I love the vibe, and they did a really nice job texturing it. And it looks underwhelming compared to Pandemonium. I guess that's just the absolute high quality level of style that Vaatu has, because Vaatu is easily one of the most stylish champions in the game. So, another absolutely killer skin for Vaatu. Also, kind of sticking with the edgy vibe that Vaatu has always had. We're not really branching out from that in any way, shape, or form with Vaatu, but I'm absolutely fine with it if every skin is going to be this awesome looking. So, pretty nice, pretty darn nice. And this will be available from the Diamond Chest or direct purchase for a mere 500 crystals. That's a steal, man. So, they went over a few balance changes in the update show, but Androxus was not one of them, but I can already see his name right here. So, hopefully we got some Androxus nerfs coming up here. Also, stay tuned for 7. You're going to like what you see, alright? So, here we go. Balance changes for Androxus. What have we got? Curse Revolver. Duration reduced from 1.5 seconds to 1 second. I like that. Base damage decrease from 11 to 10. Let's go. Damage increase per tick decrease from 1.5 per tick to 1 per tick. Let's go. Reduced max damage per tick from 30 to 25. Okay, I think he's gone. I think he's gone down to 4-shotting again instead of 3-shotting reliably. Unless you do it really slowly, and even then I'm not sure if he'll 3-shot anymore. This is good. This is progress. This is absolutely fantastic. It's not what we needed, right? What we needed is this talent to be removed and replaced with something else, because this will forever be an unhealthy talent for Androxus. But it's a step in the right direction, because it makes him a little more bursty. So it's just, it's good. The talent, the nerfs make him a little bit less bursty. The talent still makes him bursty. I completely lost what I was going to say there for a second. I had a brain glitch. The Kasumi glitch emote, it glitched me out. So I'm sorry about that. But yeah, nerfs, love to see it. Next up, Barrack. They actually did discuss this in the update show. And it's weird. I'm not entirely sure why they're buffing Barrack, but they're buffing Barrack. So, Dome Shield, the flamethrower turret range is now increased from 22 to 30. But the regular Forge Fire flamethrower turret remains at 22. So the Forge Fire flamethrower turrets are still a smaller version of the flamethrower, both in terms of damage and now in terms of range. Also, the flamethrower turret is no longer destroyed on the Dome Shield's destruction. So when the Dome Shield expires after 4 seconds, it takes the flamethrower turret with it, but not anymore. So basically Barrack will now have the dynamic of, at base, with Fortify and with Tinkerin, when you get 100% ultimate charge, you gain access to one very powerful flamethrower turret that persists until you die or it's destroyed. Or you can go Forge Fire and get 2 smaller flamethrower turrets for a fraction of the price without the shield. But yeah, basically, the turrets consistently now will never expire. They will always just stand there until they're destroyed. So, interesting dynamic. I mean, it'll definitely feel like good quality of life for Barrack's ult. But, did we really need to buff the strongest point tank in the game? Did we really? Like, really? Okay, whatever. Bob King is getting a nerf. Fair enough. Fair enough. Royal Subjects now reduces ammo from 6 to 4. Fair enough. That's a silly nerf right there. That's very, very silly. That's not how I would have nerfed Bomb King. I would have just made Royal Subjects a little bit like less powerful in terms of like the range of the like explosion, but you do you. Also, if we were to really talk about nerfing Bomb King, make Poppy Bomb a crippleable ability. It would really, really tone down his power, because the fact that he's immune to cripples and still has a movement ability is pretty nutty. You know, so that would be a way to tone him down a little bit. Just saying, high res. Trust me, I'm a Bomb King main. I know how to nerf my guy. But yeah. Anyways, moving on to Caspian. So he's getting 3 quality of life changes. Storm of Blades now refills Caspian's ammo when cast, so when you use your ultimate, you will not have to reload, which is pretty cool. They pressed backspace on the 0, and they pressed 1. Good job, Hi-Rez. This is the change we needed. I know that sounds sarcastic, but I'm actually serious. This is a really good change, because, well, I mean, it just makes sense. The sword slashes in multiples of 3. You do 2 light attacks, 1 heavy attack, that's 3. The pistol shoots 3 ammo. Why have the ammo count be not a multiple of 3? Just do this. Thank you, Mojo. Appreciate it. And Deadly Momentum, unfortunately, will not have the change I suggested, where you will carry momentum by default and not do the twirl at the end, or you could recast the ability to do the twirl for extra damage. No, instead, you just have reduced delay after the spin, and they cut it by more than half. So going from 0.4 seconds down to 0.175 seconds, really short delay after the spin now, which will hopefully make him feel a bit more fluid, but still, unfortunately, no momentum carry. So we'll just have to see how this feels. Hopefully with the gold skin, but again, just a reminder, I don't have it. High res. Level 50 Caspian. I have no gold skin. It's locked. What are you doing? Please. Io. Oh, they're nerfing her. Oh, they're nerfing. Oh, okay. Interesting. So, by default, Moonlight will now have reduced healing from 150 per tick to 135 per tick, so this will officially bring her down to below 1,000 healing per second. So that's pretty interesting. So theirs is actually now going to have a bit of a burstier heal. But of course less consistent than Io's, of course, obviously. Lifelink getting increased healing from 300 to 320, I suppose to compensate for the fact that Moonlight is getting nerfed. And then Goddess Blessing will restore the Moonlight healing back up to 150. So Goddess Blessing now also counts as a heal buff. and gives damage reduction, but you lack the self-sustain. Lifelink gives the area healing, but not necessarily as flexible as the Moonlight. Interesting dynamic. Interesting way to change Io, because she is, of course, one of the strongest healers in the game at the moment. So we'll see how this plays out. She's definitely going to feel weaker. But this is a really interesting change. This is a really, really interesting change. You'll be curious to see how Lifelink feels to play now. Next up, Lex. One change. Technically 2 changes, but both to the law. Reduced pre-fire delay from 1.2 seconds to 1 second. So it'll shoot a little bit faster. You get the execute faster. Woohoo. Now resets the cooldown of In Pursuit. So you can use your auto-aim straight after using the law. Huh? Why? Huh? I don't get it. Controller players are going to cry, I'm pretty sure. Isn't Lex good on controller because of aim assist? Kind of similar like Talus, Koga, yada yada. I don't get it, man. It's weird. It's a weird change. We're just going to move on and talk about Makoa, because he's getting some changes. Ooh! Buff to Leviathan that's actually pretty snazzy. Now increases movement speed by 20% for the duration of Ancient Rage. 20% movement speed buff for the next 8 seconds. Pretty good. Gives the melee attack a movement speed buff. That seems to make sense. So really trying to encourage more people to go Leviathan off tank instead of Pluck. That's fascinating. And Barrier Reef actually getting nerfed. Last patch they were going to buff Half Shell by giving it a lower duration. Or a lower cooldown, excuse me. This patch? They're nerfing Barrier Reef? Goodness. Okay. Well, to be fair, they didn't actually follow through with the buff that they were planning. But yeah, Barrier Reef is now going up to 1,000 instead of 800. So you're going to have to run Carapace at level 5 now in tandem with Barrier Reef. And yeah, Ooh. Yeah, that takes a second cooldown reduction away from the shield, actually. Because with 800, you could get 5 procs from the 4,000 health shield, and you would get 1 additional proc from running Carapace at level 4. But with this, you can only get 4 procs from the initial 4,000 health, and then you have to run a Carapace at level 5 to get a 5-second cooldown reduction. That's actually a pretty major nerf. Wow. Alright, rest in peace, Half Shell. Anyways, next, let's see. Octavia getting a buff to Creeping Barrage that honestly should have been there since the start. Creeping Barrage ultimate no longer stops on death. Honestly, it made absolutely 0 sense that it did. Like, what, does the entire barrage come from her finger? No, she's commanding someone in a satellite above her to do an orbital strike. They shouldn't stop just because she died. That's not how that works. So, this will be nice just for quality of life, because I always thought it was stupid. But, let's see. Distortion Field. Cooldown now starts when the ability ends. Reduce cooldown from 18 seconds to 16 seconds. That's interesting. I didn't realize the cooldown started as soon as the ability started. So, the way it works now, I guess, is Distortion Field. When you throw it out and it hits the ground, the cooldown starts to go down while you're getting effect from the duration. So now, you have to wait, 4 seconds? Until the Distortion Field is gone, for it to then start reducing the cooldown. And I guess I shaved 2 seconds off this to compensate, but I think this still means that Distortion Field ultimately will be less spammable now. So, interesting change there. Very interesting change there. Alright, let's see. Pip. Mega Potion rework. Zyke, my boy. You here in the chat? Let's see. Mega Potion reduces the bonus healing from 130% down back to 100%, so a 2,000 burst heal. Additional healing percent is now also applied to Pip healing himself. Ooh, alright. So Pip can now have a 2,000 self-burst heal. Honestly, I'm not sure why Mega Potion never did that to begin with, but that's pretty spicy. And it also augments Healing Potion to apply a stacking 200 shield. So, what this means is, instead of giving 2,300 healing, like it does currently, it will give 2,000 healing and then a 200 shield. So it'll still effectively give 2,200 HP, which is just 100 less than the original base Mega Potion, but the healing now applies to Pip himself, and because 200 of that HP is in the form of a shield, it means that the Mega Potion is way more resilient to Cauterize, because even in late game 90% Cauterize, you'll still be giving them an effective 200 HP. on top of the, 90% of 2,000, which is what, like 200 healing from the Mega Potion in late game Cauterize, which then if you buy some Rejuvenate, that'll go to whatever that value is. Basically, Mega Potion will scale better in late game now, and yeah, it still doesn't fix the reliability issues of this being your only healing ability, and it has a long cooldown, and it still doesn't make the Mega Potion mega. I wish the Mega Potion had an increased range on it, just to really play into Mega Potion, but whatever. It might get ludicrous with the Radius cards, so it's whatever. A man can dream, okay? A man can dream. Anyway, Sati nerf. This is a well-needed nerf right here. This is like the only change Sati has really needed, is Blastback cone size nerf. The cone size buff that they gave it a few patches ago is getting toned back. So not quite back to where it used to be. Used to be 45. It's going from 55 down to 50. So kind of in between where it was a few patches ago and where it is now. So hopefully it'll be less frustration for players who just get blasted back from a mile away and a mile above Sati. Sati can be here, I can be here, and still get hit by the blast back. It'll be a little bit less frustrating. And also reduce the effective range and effective radius as well, down by 5 units. So yeah, I don't think this will kill Window of Opportunity, but I think it'll feel much more fair to play against. And I think this final change will actually put Sati in a pretty decent spot overall. So that's pretty exciting. Strix getting a talent rework, Crack Shot. Okay, so this now also reduces Talon Rifle's damage. So I assume the damage over time effect, the burn effect, is still going to be there. Reduces Talon Rifle's damage from 1200 to 900. Remove the headshot penalty so you can still hit headshots. And now also grants perfect unscoped accuracy. I wonder if this means you'll get a reticle in the center of your screen now when you're using the sniper rifle. So then you don't have to do the scoping in. You could just kind of play him as like a mid-ranged, just, hi, I'm walking around, I'm hip-fired, blah, blah, blah. I'm not sure if this will put it into the meta, I'm going to be perfectly honest. Reducing the damage by 300? Considering they're not making the fire rate faster, is going to make his DPS pitiful. Especially in Haven Veteran meta, like, he'll have to 3-shot without even, like, Haven. And when Haven comes into the picture, ooh, alright. Like, actually, he might have to 4-shot some squishies. If we do the math, if someone runs health card at level 5, that's 2,450 health on a lot of squishies. And then you buy, like, Haven 2 Veteran 2, I think that gives him enough EHP for him to have to 4-shot. I might be wrong about that. Because 3 shots would do 2,700 damage. And I think I was playing earlier with Victor, actually, and Veteran 2 got me alone to, like, 2,700 and some change. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that damage nerf, Chief, but, why can't we not just have unscoped accuracy as a base thing? Or at the very least, why does the accuracy have to be so extreme? I don't know. It's weird. Also, Talent Nocturnal now grants 20% movement speed while stealth, taking his best talent and buffing it. Now, see, I asked for this at base. I guess they are doing it in the talent form, kind of like they did with Preparation Sky. I would just like to see this as a base thing across the board, because it would make Strix feel a little bit better. It would give him some form of movement ability, kind of. But also, this will actually kind of be a little bit different from the card, because the card gives it for a set duration after entering stealth, but once that duration is gone, you can still be in stealth, and the movement speed won't apply. But this is just a flat, while you are stealth, you get the movement speed, so it'll be more consistent than the card. And it'll also stack with the card, so that'll be pretty crazy. That'll be pretty interesting. Anyways, Torvald, ability Hyper Beam, can now be cancelled after a 0.5 second lockout by recasting the ability. So you can cancel the ult. That's really interesting. That's going to be some nice quality of life, in case you want to stop ulting, and in case you realize you messed up by pressing the button. Now all you really need is the crowd control immunity to come in a little bit sooner, because with Torvald's ultimate, the crowd control immunity only comes in after he's done the initial that animation. So after he does the initial cast, you have to wait for that animation for the crowd control immunity to come into effect. So it's much less reliable of a way to deny crowd control than something like Atlas ult, where the crowd control just is instant. So that would be really nice. And yeah, Hyper Beam would be a pretty nice ability at that point. I like this change. Also, thanks Grandpa, the shield talent, which gives the shield a bigger health pool, Now also reduces the cooldown of protection by 1 second. Didn't that used to be a thing? Or am I tripping? I don't know. Either way, buffs for Torvald. That's pretty cool. Alright, and now, ooh, here we go. 7 changes. There's a lot of them this time. Well, there's 3 really big ones this time, and you are going to love this, chat. You are going to love this YouTube comments, alright? Grappling Hook. Reduce damage from 300 to 200. Okay, that's a small change, whatever. Now, no longer hooks non-frontline enemies. We did it. We did it, boys. We did it. So yeah. 7 retains his original behavior of hooking and dragging himself towards frontline champions. It will damage non-front lines. It will still hit and damage them. But you will not displace them. The displacement is gone. You can still use it as a burst ability, but it only applies an extra 200 damage. It's not really like worth it to grapple. Unless you really need that damage at a pinch. And yeah, he will drag himself towards frontline champions because they're big and beefy. But against other, like against Cassie, he's just going to do 200 damage. So, the displacement is gone. The displacement that nobody enjoyed playing against. You'll no longer have to worry about it. It's a dream. Spring-loaded players going to be a million times less annoying because of this change. And also because Explosive Dodge is getting reduced knockback force from 200 down to 100. They're cutting it in half. It's crazy. It's crazy. These are excellent changes. Now, Overcharged is getting reworked, and I've actually seen some people suggest this rework. I personally was not the one who thought of this idea. I have been advocating for the hook to no longer hook people, and that got in. But Overcharge now actually will cause the grappling hook to now pull non-frontline champions to 7. It reduces the grappling hook's damage by 100, its charges by 1, but also reduces its cooldown by 2 seconds. So, if you want the ability to be an irritating prick back, you can, but at a significantly diminished capacity. Because reducing the charges by 1 is huge. You can do it, I wanted to say twice as often, but that's not right. Half as often. That's it. I had another brain glitch. Don't worry about it. You can do it half as often, and it does half of the damage, but that's half of the nerfed damage. So it actually does a third of the previous damage that you were doing. So, yeah, severely diminished capacity, but also it now creates the dynamic of, if you want to be an annoying prick and grapple people, you have to sacrifice spring-loaded. You have to sacrifice the cooldown reduction on dodge roll and the double set of bombs, which means your burst combo is not going to be nearly as effective. Basically, 7 just got a lot less annoying. 7 got his crowd control absolutely neutered. His ultimate is still powerful. Explosive Dodge still has a little bit of knockback on it. But now he's just a character who has the best mobility in the game and incredible burst. But he lost that crowd control, and if you want that crowd control back, you have to sacrifice a lot. This is excellent. It's an end to the Andro 7 meta. Yes. Finally. 7 is going to be a bit of a respectful champion again. Because, yeah, the damage is still going to be ridiculous, but man, you're going to be able to control your own movements against this character now, which is absolutely phenomenal. So, I am absolutely stoked for these changes. I have been asking for this in particular for a long time. Now, I was just thinking they were straight up going to remove the ability for it to do damage at all, so you can't even use it as an aggressive tool. But you can still do damage with it. It's just, there's not really as much incentive anymore because you don't have that crowd control, so you really pretty much are only going to use the grapple as a movement ability now. Which is nice. This is awesome. This is very, very awesome. Anyways, moving on. Victor. Second win. Movement speed bonus is now applied after hustle instead of during. Reduced cooldown from 12 seconds to 10 seconds. Okay, I don't care. Vora. Oh, we got a bunch of changes here. What are they doing to Vora? Harbinger's Wrath. If an enemy is killed during the stun before the execute, Vora is refunded 25% ultimate charge. Aww. So if someone steals Vora's kill while she's doing the swing, she gets refunded. That could actually open up some teamwork strategies, because if you think about it, if they die before the stun, or during the stun before the execute, then yeah, she gets the 25% back. So you could have it to where Vora goes for the ult on someone who's, you know, sort of low, like, let's say they're 35... Let's say there's a Fernando who's at, like, 33% HP, but he's holding a shield up. She goes for the stun that pierces through the shield, opens him up to damage from her teammates, and then Kinessa just bops him in the head. And he dies. And then Vora gets the 25% back, but the opening stun is what got the Fernando killed because he had to lower his shield. So you would have that, like, teamwork. That's actually pretty interesting. That's pretty cool. I like that. She ain't gonna be broken. Yeah, it's not gonna be broken. It's only 25%. But that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Deadly Scythe, increased projectile speed by 10%. So you're gonna... Okay. That's probably gonna mess with some people's muscle memory, man. I'm not really sure why they're doing this, but they're doing it. Okay. Tendril, reduce cooldown from 12 seconds to 10 seconds. Harbinger's Wrath, increased damage reduction. That's the ultimate, by the way, from 30 to 40%. Relentless Presence now increases Tendril's cooldown from 10 seconds to 12 seconds. I was about to say, why are they just flat buffing Double Tendril, but they're actually not. So Double Tendril is going to remain the same, but her other two playstyles are going to have reduced cooldown on the Tendril, which means you'll have more mobility if you want to go Deafening Silence or whatever the heck the other one's called. I forget the name. Interesting. So overall, just Vora buffs. Interesting. Interesting stuff. Alright, well, let's see. Moving on to Yaggroth. Is this the final one? Yep, it's the final balance change. Sight begets Strength. Reduce shield per pulse from 125 to 90. So Sight begets Strength. Going to be a little bit less of a prevalent talent, but of course giving people 450 shielding is still going to be very nice. Through walls, the entire team. It's going to be nice. And yeah, Devour. Reduce minimum distance from 45 to 30. I just wish they would remove it. Stop teasing us by making it smaller and smaller and smaller. Just get rid of it because it was a bad mechanic in the first place. Please. I beg. I beg of you. Alright? Please. Anyways, those are the balance changes. Let's move on to bug fixes now. Let's see. Okay, we got Caspian. I thought it was going to be like a whole bunch of Caspian changes, but it's just one Caspian bug fix. So we got a bunch of champion changes here. So Caspian. Fix an issue where Caspian's war weapon would occasionally cause issues with reloading. Okay, so no more reload bug for Caspian. Inara, fix an issue where Inara's ultimate seismic crash was displaying as being bound to the incorrect input. Okay, I don't care. Fix an issue where Blastback's first-person VFX wouldn't appear if Window of Opportunity was selected. Okay, don't care. Are there any important changes here? Fix an issue where Ceres' Shadow Travel full-screen VFX was Z-fighting with enemy Lilith's Blood Moon Ultimate's full-screen VFX. That's a mouthful right there, but this is actually a good change, because there were some cases where, if you were using Shadow Travel while Lilith was using Blood Moon, your screen would just completely spaz out, and it was almost like seizure material. So that's actually like a really important change, and that's a really good thing. Talus fixed an issue where the location of the hitbox of Talus's Blitz upper ability was being influenced by the Talus player's movement inputs during the ability. Wait. So does this mean that the Talus player's movement inputs were causing, like, issues with it registering because it was physically moving the hitbox? So does this mean that Blitz Upper is going to be a lot easier to hit now? Kind of like a Maeve Pounce? If this means what I think it means, Blitz Upper actually just got a major buff. At least in terms of the reliability of using it. That bug has been in ever since they nerfed Blitz Upper. Really? That's fascinating. This actually, like, this might be, like, a sleeper buff for Talus. Like, this actually might be a really big buff. Or not really a really big buff, just a buff to the reliability of the punch. That actually seems like it might be really good. And also, fix an issue where Yaggroth's Carnage Dance emote was missing audio. No, it wasn't. Or was it missing more audio? Because I could hear the little, like, fishy whenever she does, like, the little whatever that is. Huh, okay, whatever. Fix an issue where Black Hole Spray was missing audio. Okay, don't care. Various quality of life collision fixes to the Stonekeep and Warder's Gate reworks. Okay. Wish there were specifics, but I guess we'll just have to play on Stonekeep and Warder's Gate to see. And change spawn points in Marauder's Port to address one that was a bit too close to the seas. Alright. Boring. Yeah, nothing too major in the bug fixes, apart from, like, Caspian bug fix being really important, Talus bug fix potentially being very important, Sayos bug fix being good, and of course quality of life collision fixes are always nice. But yeah, that is the Last Remains update. So we've got Kasumi, one of the most complicated champions in the history of Paladins, with some crazy crowd control, not as crazy damage, and pretty good mobility. So she's a dank. Paladins can't make up their mind as to whether she's a flank or a damage, but she's a damage. We've got some skins, some of which aren't totally bad. And we've got some very spicy balance changes with Andro getting nerfed, VII getting major nerfs, and overall seems pretty interesting. I don't want to say pretty exciting, because like it's not like super exciting, but it's cool. It's cool, most of it. So, but anyways, if you guys have enjoyed, of course, make sure to drop a like and let me know what you think about the Last Remains update in the comment section down below, because I would love to hear your thoughts on that. Also, if you want to talk with other people about it, consider joining the Discord server. And of course, if you want to catch me live, you can catch me live on Twitch, as the chat is so politely showing you guys, yes, with their buys, by YouTube. And yeah, also, if you want to support me, please consider checking out my Nexus at nexus.gg/AndrewChicken. You can buy crystals, the season pass, and more, and support me in the process. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching. I will see you all next time. Peace out.